That Saturday evening, my folks were out to visit my grandma, so I had the whole house to myself. I figured it was the perfect time to finally watch The Conjuring without Mom freaking out about the psychological impact on a 15-year-old. I made this huge bowl of popcorn, crashed on the couch, and got about 30 minutes in when someone knocked on the door. When I looked through the peephole, a girl was standing on my porch wearing a green Girl Scout sash and pigtails. She had this huge smile that was way too big for her face. Girl Scouts sold cookies all the time. It wasn't meant to be anything special, but some just didn't fit right in. Girl Scouts are usually like 10 years old, but this girl looked at least 20. She had full makeup on, mascara and lipstick, but was dressed like a little kid. I almost didn't open the door. My gut told me not to, but then I thought I was being paranoid from watching too many horror movies. Plus, she was just selling cookies. What's the worst that could happen? I opened the door.
Hi! We're raising money for the troops. Wanna buy some cookies?
Up close, she looked even weirder. Her makeup was caked on, covering what looked like acne scars. The pigtails were messy as if she had tied them in a hurry, and her eyes didn't match her smile. Sure, I said. How much?
$5 a box.
She held up Thin Mints, and her smile got wider.
You're cute. You know that?
My heartbeat picked up. Thanks, I said, reaching for my wallet. I'll just take one box. She leaned closer, and I could smell her perfume. It was heavy and sweet, that kind that sticks in your throat.
You know, I've got more varieties in my van, if you want to pick your favorite.
Everything in my head was telling me to say no and close the door, but I was 15 and stupid, and some part of me was flattered that an older girl was paying attention to me. Yeah, let me check them out. She giggled, turned, and walked toward the curb, where a white van was sitting with its engine running. As we got closer, I noticed that instead of the windows, the van had solid white panels in the back.
They're right here,
the girl said, reaching for the side door. She slid the door open. Before I even figured out what I was looking at, hands shot out of the dark and grabbed me. One yanked my arm, another grabbed my shirt, and suddenly I was being pulled inside. I tried to scream, but a hand clamped over my mouth. My feet barely touched the ground before they shoved me all the way in. The doors slammed shut, and the van lurched forward. Inside, one of them pinned me down while the other went through my pockets. They took my phone first, then my wallet. I was wearing my new Jordans my dad just bought me. One of them yanked those off too, laughing. The new edition, he whistled. Please, I sobbed, hating how scared I sounded. Please just let me go. I won't tell anyone. The girl was sitting in the passenger seat. She smiled as she pulled off the pigtails, and without them, she looked at least 10 years older, harder, and meaner.
Stupid, horny teenagers,
she said, lighting a cigarette. She took a drag, then turned around and pressed the lit end against my arm. I screamed. That's when the guy started hitting me in the gut, face, and ribs. They weren't trying to knock me out. They just wanted to hurt me. I curled up trying to protect myself, but there wasn't enough room. Every time I moved, another punch landed. I tasted blood. My nose was bleeding, dripping onto the van floor. One punch caught me in the eye, and I saw stars. Another hit my ribs, and I heard something crack. The pain was so bad I couldn't breathe. They were laughing, making jokes about how I was crying and how easy it was. I don't know how long it lasted. Everything blurred together into pain and the smell of cigarette smoke and beer. After a few hours, the van stopped. One of them opened the door, and they threw me out onto the street. I landed hard, scraping my hands and knees on the pavement. Stay down, one said. Don't look up, and if you go to the cops, we know where you live. The van peeled away while I lay there on the street. My whole body hurt. My face felt swollen, and blood dripping from my nose onto the sidewalk. When I finally sat up, I had no idea where I was. It was some neighborhood I'd never seen. A woman came out of one of the houses with her phone.
Oh my god, are you okay? I'm calling 911.
I tried to say I was fine, but when I opened my mouth, more blood came out. My ribs hurt so bad I could barely breathe. She made me sit on her porch while we waited. The paramedics said I needed the hospital. I called my parents. My mom cried when she saw my face. My dad looked like he wanted to kill someone. Cops came and took a statement, but I couldn't tell them much except that the van was white. I didn't see the plate, and there were at least 2 of them with the fake scout girl. I spent 2 days in the hospital. I had 3 cracked ribs, a concussion, and a broken nose. The bruises took weeks to heal, but the physical stuff wasn't the worst part. The worst part was living afterward. Every time someone knocks on the door, I freeze. Every white van I see makes my heart race. I have nightmares about being in that van, about those fists in the dark. My therapist says it's PTSD. She's teaching me ways to feel safe again. But some nights, I still wake up sweating, convinced I can smell smoke and beer. The cops never caught them. As far as I know, they're still out there, knocking on doors, looking for stupid, horny teenagers to follow a stranger to their van.